Did they make
No,
contact?
I don't know. It's pretty close, but this is going to be a drag race.
Right
Look at
there.
this.
Moves
Wow.
him to win it. Carl Edwards bump and dump and run.
Here comes Gordon right up to the bumper again. The bump and run.
There it is.
Maine to really turn around, meant to Reilly's cage up.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the Bumper Run Podcast. I'm your host, Michael D. White, joined by my two best friends, Matt the Statman Reilly and Eric Daytona Ron. Hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys had yourselves a Kurt Busch type of weekend, winning for the fifth different organization that he's driven for and the fourth manufacturer. I don't know if there's any other driver in the modern era that could say that. I'll have to do some research to be sure, but I'm gonna go out on a limb right now and say he's the only one that's ever done it right here on the Bumper Run Podcast. And if you're liking our podcast, make sure you like, share, subscribe, or follow. Tell all of your friends. Check us out on Facebook and Twitter at Bump the Letter and Run Pod. Of course, the podcast available every Monday night, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and more. And every Tuesday morning video available on YouTube, Bump the Letter and Run Pod.com for all those links you need. Fellas, gentlemen, how was your weekend?
Bittersweet for me.
Yeah, you want to know what? I think we all had a rough weekend when it came to our drivers, but Matt was the is this what you're getting at, Matt? Your celebration?
My sports weekend in general was just very bittersweet this weekend.
I thought it was because you won fantasy this week in our NASCAR Fantasy League.
Well, no, I see. I had a couple of good things happen to me and a couple bad things happen to me. So I guess maybe more a balanced weekend, I guess you can say, in my sports world.
Okay, I was gonna say because
I had the Celtics advance to the Eastern Conference Finals, which is phenomenal. I had the Penguins lose in Game 7 in overtime, which sucks because it's just such a sudden way for your season to just be over with.
Yeah.
I had Chase what happened to him yesterday. His fucking tire blew, and he was done after what I think would have been a top 5 day for him. And then I had a fantasy win. So just a very roller coaster of emotions type of weekend for me.
How about you?
I had a pretty balanced weekend as well. I got a good buzz on while I did yard work. So, I got two birds stoned at once there with that. So, got the yard cleaned up, watched some racing out in the garage. So,
did you say I got two birds stoned on that one?
At once, yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean? When you do,
I guess you know what? I guess that would be like, I stoned a bird and you hit him.
You got it.
I guess that makes sense.
No, it was a nice weekend for once around here. Sun was out, weather was good, so I had to get the yard work done. It was way overdue. We had a lot of rain previously, so good to get some work done as well as have fun. I came in second to Matt. I was hoping for that win in fantasy this week. But yes, like you mentioned, Whitey, our drivers not so good on Sunday. So it was hard to finish that race.
All three of us. It was like boom, 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 right in a row.
It really was because Eric was having issues early on, even before because he's an Eric Jones fan, even before when they really focused on him on pit road. He knew they couldn't get that lug off. So we're talking him off a ledge, right? And then Reddick gets a big old sign on the front of his grill. So you guys are talking me off the ledge. First, Eric was going to stop watching the race. He's like, I'm going to go play yard games and enjoy the nice weather. And then my guy gets taken out pretty much, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go get ice cream to make myself feel better. And Matt's like, no, I can't let you guys do that to me. I can't do the podcast by myself tomorrow. And then sure enough, maybe 50, 60 laps later, Chase Elliott's spinning. You're like, I'm done. I quit. I'm watching the Celtics. I'm like, no. We're all in this one together.
You know what, though? We were like a band that held each other together yesterday. Like we all fell at different times and we all just picked each other up and kept it moving.
Oh, yeah. We're in a boat and we're working those oars together. Sometimes you got to pick up some slack for someone else, but we all get through it together. And I also had a pretty wild weekend, Eric. I went to see Weird Al in Wilkes-Barre.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Let's go.
10 out of 10 show. I'm not a huge Weird Al fan, but
I didn't even think he was alive, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Weird Al. I haven't heard that name in 10 years.
Not only is Weird Al alive, he's like 62 years old. he looks his face, his skin hasn't aged. He looks exactly the same as he did in the 90s. His hair's still big. It's just a little gray now. And his voice is phenomenal, where I'm like, he might be lip syncing, but he wasn't. He sounded fantastic. My girlfriend.
Did he do the parody songs? Did he do his originals?
So he did a few parodies. I wish he would have done more, but he did a lot more of his own like funny originals. And so I didn't really know those songs, but they were still really good. They were really funny. He did this one about being an office worker. He did it in the style of the Talking Heads. And it was hysterical. 10 out of 10, I suggest going to see Weird Al if you ever got the chance. And tickets weren't even that bad. It was in the theater. It was like $40 a ticket. So it was definitely worth it.
That is one of the most random, like, concert, like, events, shows I've never heard of anyone just going to out of the blue, Whitey.
That's like saying you went to go see Carrot Top.
Yeah, you know what? I would go see Carrot Top because I've heard he's hysterical and he does shows in Vegas all the time. If I'm ever in Vegas, I'm going to see Carrot Top. But no, it was a Christmas present to my girlfriend. She likes Weird Al, just a couple songs, like enough to get by. And it was around Christmas time. You know when you're struggling and you're like, man, I don't know.
Oh, I've been there.
And he made the ticket announcement like a week before Christmas. Like, perfect. Knock it out of the park. So we had a good time Saturday. And then Sunday, I woke up and like you, Eric, you were doing some yard work. I did some work on the yard machine. I took apart a carburetor. I cleaned it out because the lawnmower wouldn't start. Found a video on YouTube and put it back together. And God damn it, that lawnmower started. I couldn't believe it. My mind was blown that I was able to even do it.
So, Whitey, when I saw that Snapchat of you taking apart that lawnmower, we were busting you for going to Harbor Freight.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was over our buddy Luke's house at the time, and our buddy Jay, fan of the show, fan of NASCAR.
Yeah.
He actually was like, whoa, he goes, look at Whitey, dude. He goes, this might be his day. He goes, this might be his day. Doing work, wrenching on the lawnmower. He goes, this might be his day in NASCAR. He goes, Reddick might win this one. And I'm like, we were all excited for you, Whitey. You were getting it done on a Sunday. You weren't doing grocery shopping and coming in late. You were doing man shit, working on your lawnmower before the race. If that wasn't a sign for Reddick, oh, man.
So like I said, I went to Harbor Freight and I sent you guys a Snapchat just busting balls. I didn't even have to buy anything at Harbor Freight. I was just swinging by to take a walk around and see what was going on. But I was like, Reddick's on the outside pole winner. We're at Harbor Freight. It's a beautiful Sunday morning. Like the sun is out. I was feeling great.
You window shop at Harbor Freight?
Yeah, I was just walking around. I don't know. Yeah, why not? No, I was seeing if they had any carburetor cleaner on the cheap, because like I don't know, I didn't want to go to an auto parts store and end up spending $7 on a big thing of carburetor cleaner that I'm probably gonna use once in my life, maybe twice 3 years from now. So I couldn't find any. I ended up going to that car auto parts place and spending $7 on a big fucking thing of carburetor cleaner. But we got it done. Reddick didn't get it done. We'll get into that during the race. Do you guys want to jump into the NASCAR news?
Let's hear it.
All right. Real light news week. Man, it has been super light of a news week. But one piece, Chase Elliott, Matt's driver, he's going to run the SRX season finale again. He ran it last year. And the SRX series returns to CBS June 18th. Runs to the middle of July. So looking forward to that again. Well, none of us really watched the SRX series from week to week, but we would catch it here and there. And what I saw, I really enjoyed. How about you guys? Are you looking forward to seeing SRX return?
Yeah, the only problem with the SRX series is, well, first of all, is it was great racing. Like, it was fun racing.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what the meaning of the series is. It's why Tony Stewart started it, is so it's a fun kind of Saturday night short track feel with all these all-stars. The only problem with it is that it's on a Saturday nights in the summertime.
Yeah.
And all of us are usually out doing stuff Saturday nights in the summertime. So it just falls at an unfortunate time for us, I guess. So that's the only reason why I ever missed any races, is just because it didn't line up with my schedule. There's usually stuff going on.
Yeah, I was the same. It was always hard to be home on a Saturday night, especially during the summertime. The weather's so nice and everything. I got to get a DVR or something. I don't pay for cable. I actually use Matt's cable password. So I gotta I gotta figure out a workaround. See if I can find it streaming somewhere the day after. How about you, Daytona? You watch any of the SRX series? Same
I
issues
think
with Saturday nights.
I watched the first one last year just because of the excitement. Okay, this is what it is. So I knew it was on that Saturday. But like Matt said, it's tough sometimes. Like well, we've said before on here, sometimes it's tough to even watch the Xfinity when it's on or the trucks on a Friday, depending on what your schedule is. I mean, it's tough to watch all three races every week for 36 weeks. It's tough to get them all in.
Yeah.
But that one is just another one. Just bad. I think it's kind of just bad timing in the summer there. But from what I saw of last year and in the highlights that I went back and watched, I think I'm going to make a better effort this year to watch some of those races. Maybe I think I need to do something visually to help me. I print out their schedule, put it on my bulletin board at work, at home here.
Just a little reminder.
And just little reminders that they're going to be on and coming up soon.
I tell you what, one race I for sure watched last year was the Nashville Fairgrounds. Considering, there's all the talk about the Nashville Fairgrounds and NASCAR and SMI and Marcus Smith and everything. And I tell you what, that racetrack is awesome. It races so fast. And just from seeing those SRX cars on there, I really do hope we get a truck race or something down at those fairgrounds. I'm all for
we'll
it.
get a cup race there.
I hope so. I hope it doesn't take away a track that we have near and dear to our hearts up here in the Northeast, but I would really enjoy to see a cup race down there. But speaking of racing, one last piece of news: the All-Star Race fan vote is going on right now at NASCAR.com. So if your favorite driver isn't already qualified into that main event race, head on over to NASCAR.com. I think you get like 3 votes a day or something like that. So you can vote for some different guys too. But that's all the NASCAR news I have for today. How about you guys? You hear anything through the wire throughout the day that I might have missed?
I actually took off work the rest of this week so I can devote my time to voting Cody Ware into the All-Star race this weekend.
Hey, don't even joke. He's got a weird, weirdly big online fan base. So
15 people aren't going to be enough to get him into the All-Star race.
Yeah, but what if they're running bots to vote him in? You get those bots to throw off the counts. Maybe I should hire a bot for Tyler Reddick, little insurance. All right, that's all I have for news. Do you guys want to jump into the NASCAR history?
Oh, I love this. This was absolute. Whitey, when you sent this over,
Yep.
I had no idea about this, so this was really, really cool, man, when I read that.
Yeah, I actually learned a little bit about that too. We'll get into it, and thankfully Matt brought it up because I didn't realize. So May 12th, 2000, just a couple of days ago, 22 years ago, we lost Adam Petty, the son of Kyle Petty, in a crash during a practice at New Hampshire. Of course, Adam was the first ever 4th generation professional athlete. He was having a promising career in the lower divisions of NASCAR with a handful of top 10s and top 5 finishes in the Xfinity series, then the Busch series. But his only full-time season was in 1999. He was still kind of figuring out his way. And unfortunately, he didn't have the instant success, but the talent was definitely there. He was just learning his racecraft before he was taken away far, far too soon. And it's interesting that when he drove in the Xfinity Series and his only Cup Series start, he ran the 45 for Petty Enterprises. And we saw the 45 return to victory lane yesterday with Kurt Busch. So really just the stars aligning for this one. And that's what Matt brought up. He goes, I didn't realize Adam Petty died this week 22 years ago, and the 45 connection with that one. And people often wonder what would have happened to Petty Enterprises if Adam was alive today. Because, Petty kind of fell on tough times in the 2000s. Kyle Petty was kind of staying around to keep the ride going for when Adam was old enough to move into that 44 car. And it just never got to materialize. Of course, Petty Enterprises got bought through a merger and sold, and now it's Petty GMS, but just that original Petty Enterprises, man, what could have happened if Adam Petty could have continued? But one of the coolest things, and it's weird to talk about cool things when it comes to death, but when Adam was alive, he would often visit children's hospitals to try to cheer them up. And he actually had a dream one day of opening up a summer camp for kids who were, sick or severely disabled. He even started saving money in his young career. He wasn't even, 21 years old, and he was already thinking about the future and helping people. And so in 2004, Victory Junction opened up. And I'm sure we've all seen Victory Junction on that Petty 43. I didn't realize it was his vision to have a summer camp. And of course, they are a summer camp for kids with serious illnesses, so they can have kind of a taste of what I don't want to say a normal kid would get to, but just someone that I always wanted to go to summer camp as a kid. I'm sure these kids who are sitting in the hospital, they don't know what their futures are. They're like, man, I wish I could go to summer camp, go on the big blob and stuff. When I was a kid, my favorite movie was Heavyweights. I don't know if you guys ever saw that one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But so that vision actually became a reality, and it's to no cost of the children or the families. So if you'd like to get involved or donate some money to Victory Junction, you can check it out, victoryjunction.org. And it really is kind of the lasting memory of Adam Petty, and just the kind of leftover legacy from the first fourth generation athlete ever.
That's so cool, man. Like when I read that, it was moving.
Sure.
Yeah, I knew a little bit about Adam Petty. I didn't know the full scope of it. And he really did have a promising career. I brought up, the handful of top 10s and top 5s. He only got one top 10. The rest were top 5s. I think it was like 4 or 5 in 1999's Busch series. But he was going up against guys like Dale Jr. and Matt Kenseth, Hall of Famers. So who knows what could have happened with Adam, his father and his grandfather guiding his way. We were surprised last week, you think Richard Petty, he's an old man now, but he still knows these cars. When he was commentating at Darlington, that first stage, we talked about it like, wow, the King actually he's still pretty relevant when it comes to these new cars. He knows what's going on. So who knows what could have happened. Just a shame, but definitely a cool thing to come from it in the long run with Victory Junction. But do you guys want to jump into the weekend that we just had down in Kansas?
What a weekend it was. Let's go.
It was. Did you guys get to check out the truck race at all? It was
bits and pieces, but not enough to really get any kind of idea of what or how it went. I watched it at the bar. I also had the local short track on my phone at Williams Grove. The World of Outlaws were at Williams Grove, so I was watching that on my phone. The trucks were on the TV. I'm at a bar. I was doing my best to multitask, but it was tough.
It was a big Saturday night for Eric and racing. Well, Zane Smith, he took home the checkered flag down in Kansas. Like I said, I was at Weird Al. I didn't get to check it out. How about you, Matt? Were you out and about?
I was out and about too. Yeah, we had a busy night Saturday night, so I did not. Well, I think I caught the end of it. I guess I did. I caught the end of it, but no, for the majority of the race, I don't have much to touch on. All
right, well, Zane Smith won, and something I know we all saw was Sunday's Cup race where Kurt Busch led for 5 times for 116 laps. He won stage 2, and he locked himself into the playoffs by the end of the day. He was also the first stage 2 winner to win at Kansas, which I thought was pretty interesting. The race took 3 hours, 13 minutes, and 3 seconds. A whole lot of threes right there. We had 8 cautions for 47 laps, 18 lead changes among 10 drivers. Your top 5, of course, Kurt Busch, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, and Christopher Bell. All the Toyotas made it in the top 10. I don't know if that's ever happened where every Toyota in the race finished in the top 10, but that was absolutely amazing. Great performance by 2311 and Joe Gibbs Racing. Boys, what are you grading it? We'll start with Matt.
I went back and forth with this one. And at the end of the day, what I saw yesterday was absolutely everything that I personally like to see in a race, besides my driver getting, being taken out of the race. Again, I don't put my own personal emotion into it. I just try to grade what I see from an unbiased opinion, and I gave it an A+. I didn't know if I was going to give it the A+, but we had passing, right? We had a fun ending to that where Kyle Larson was smashing into the wall and Kurt Busch was diving underneath and passing him.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Can Kyle Larson catch back up to him? Every 20 to 25 to 30 laps, it was like, whose tire is going to blow? Who's going to be the next victim? It's almost like watching a horror movie. You don't know who's going to get stabbed next, And it would just have that drama, that excitement, and that fear. At the end of that race, they had that longer run going where Larry Mack came on and said, we're within that window where tires start to fail.
Become an issue.
Is it going to happen to one of these guys?
Yeah.
Is it going to happen to one of the leaders? And I'm thinking, is it going to happen?
Yeah, I don't know.
That unknown drama, the racing was phenomenal. I loved everything I saw yesterday for the most part, besides, again, what happened to our drivers. An A+. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, I feel like you, man, like every 30, 40, 50 laps, I'm like, oh my God, oh my God, just the whole entire time. So
like Eric Jones's lug nut got stuck on the car.
Like outrageous.
And that was like maybe the second or third craziest thing that happened in that race yesterday.
No, for real. For real.
It's insane. It's insane. I loved it. I loved the drama at the end of the day. It sucks what happened to Chase, but still the racing was phenomenal.
But that's the thing. We still saw great racing, like true racing. So Eric, what was your grade for the weekend?
Yeah, I gave it an A. I couldn't give it anything less. I saw everything I needed to see, just like Matt said. The restarts were great. The multi-groove of that racetrack at Kansas, I had forgotten how wide it could get there. Going 3-4 wide into turn one was absolutely phenomenal to see. And all throughout that first lap on a restart, they were scattered. Like normally, okay, lap one, they kind of get in line either up top or into the bottom. No, that whole field about, I would say 15 cars back was spread out and nobody was in line until about maybe the lap going on to lap 3 till they started kind of sorting it out. And that was really, really fun to watch the restarts. Like I said, the multi-groove, it allowed for different lanes to try and pass. Passing was hard, but I love that. And the drive, like, it's not just, oh, I'm going to pass this guy. No, you have to figure it out. You have to take the air away. You have to try to get in his line. Find a different line on the racetrack where your car is fast. I know Kyle Busch was complaining, yeah, my car is fast on the top, but I could only ride the top. I need to be able to drive the bottom if I'm going to get around lap traffic. So you had all of that mixed in. The drama with the big name drivers, Reddick hitting the wall, Chase hitting the wall, the Eric Jones stuff, the 14 going through the grass. There was just, like you said, every 20, 30 laps, there was something new and insane and crazy going on and happening that was like, what is the next thing? You didn't know it was going to be someone hitting the wall, a tire going down. You never know what was going to happen on pit road. So for me, the finish was exciting. There was only one thing that I wish we got out of that yesterday, was I really, really wish we could have had a Kurt and Kyle Busch battle. At the end.
Yeah.
I know he had to get by both Kyle Larson and his brother. And I just wish that Kyle Busch was in second at the end instead of Kyle Larson, because I think it would have went a little differently if the two brothers were racing against one another instead of Larson being in second. But overall, saw what I needed to. It was an A race all day.
So to kind of touch on Eric talking about Kyle and Kurt, one of the funniest ongoing jokes in NASCAR is the fact that whenever Kurt Busch wins a race, so I guess he
just leaves
travels to the track with his brother Kyle.
Yeah.
And whenever Kurt Busch wins a race, Kyle just leaves him at the track. You're on your own. So I don't know if you guys caught it yesterday.
Yeah.
Kurt was in the car. He was driving backwards on pit lane, kind of shaking people's hands and everything. Denny came in, gave him that nice little moment where they hugged and congratulated each other. And then Kyle walked up and Kyle congratulated Kurt. And then you could hear him say, like, so you going back with him? You going back with me? Like, is he going to take him? Like, it was almost like, he just dropped his brother off at like basketball practice after school. And he's like, hey, bud, you're on your own. Find your way home.
Like, I'll drop you off, but you got to call mom to come pick you up because I got stuff going on. No, I noticed that. That was really funny too.
Yeah.
Did you also notice him absolutely rifle a bottle of water right in Kurt's face?
Oh, yeah, he just spraying it on him.
Yeah, I'm like, oh my God, what a dick.
No, and you want to what? Like you said, I wish they could have been near each other at the end to kind of battle it out because there would be contact. You know it. Like we saw a pretty clean ending. I think we would have saw something like we saw last week with Joey Logano and William Byron. But yeah, I agree with you guys. I give it an A. It was a really frustrating day for all of our drivers, but the race as a whole, you can't let that affect it because it was a fantastic race. Especially, we got to eat some crow this week because last week during the picks, we said, "Oh, Kansas isn't the greatest race. It's kind of a meh race." Didn't really expect a whole lot, and I don't know if it was the track or this car or just the combination.
It's hard. This car is producing, boys. This car is producing. I mean, we had one dud?
Yeah.
Martinsville, one dud.
I think so.
I'll deal with one dud. You know what I mean? As far as this goes into the season, but yeah, I think that car is really showing out.
It's crazy too. We're just handing out A's and A minuses and A pluses like crazy this season. I checked our notes for last year. This race would have been Dover last year, and I gave that a C, and we gave Dover this year an A all around, or maybe it was an A minus all around. So
there was one other dud.
It was early on in the season. Was it Las Vegas or Phoenix? It was Phoenix.
I forgot about Phoenix.
It's always Phoenix.
But even that Phoenix race was better than previous Phoenix races, so you have to give it to that.
Right.
The one thing, too, with Kansas that I was worried about and this new car, because, Eric, you said it is hard to pass, and it is. But you remember in 2020 in the NASCAR playoffs, it was Kevin Harvick and Joey Logano, and Harvick just kept getting to Logano and then stalling out. It created that big air bubble behind. And we watched him for I don't even know how many laps, and Kevin Harvick couldn't do anything. At least with this car, you could find different lines to run. You could run up high, you could run down low and make it work to make those passes. And we did. We saw a lot of passes. I mean, 18 lead changes with 10 drivers on a mile and a half. I feel like we don't really see that much. And it kind of sucks too, because like we're not going back to a mile and a half besides the Coke 600 coming up for a while, I think, until we get to the playoffs. So I feel like a lot of the mile and a half tracks have been put into the playoffs in a big bulky section. And I kind of miss them. You know, a lot of people always bash mile and a halves and cookie cutter tracks. And man, if this is the racing we're getting, I kind of want them all summer long too, you know?
Hey, one thing I do want to say too, and I believe it was Chocolate Myers that said it today on his show on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio Channel 90, was that if that was anybody else, when it was Kyle versus Kyle and Kurt Busch was kind of laying in the, hiding in the weeds behind them, just kind of watching it all go down.
Yeah.
If that was any other driver, one of those two Kyles probably would have won the race because they were burning up their tires. They were burning up their equipment, where Kurt, with the veteran savvy,
he had the wherewithal to save his tires.
He was able to stay within striking distance, but not burn it all up, let them kind of battle each other, and then pounce when the time was right. And that just goes to show you that the experience and just being in the sport for so long and it was impressive. Like, that's really cool. Like, I didn't think about it when it was happening. And then Chocolate said it today. I'm like, you know what? He's right. Like, that was veteran presence taking over right there and letting experience win that race.
You're absolutely right. And if you're a veteran listener of the show, you've heard us say it many times last year, this year, during the Daytona 500 preview show when we were buying and selling stocks of race car drivers. Kurt Busch is always good for at least one of these types of wins. And you're right. It's just the veteran experience, being able to figure out people's flaws and weaknesses in their cars and knowing the time to strike and when to do it. Sorry to cut you off there, Eric. What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to agree, like with him realizing that when two cars are in front of you and they're side by side, that's only benefiting him.
Yeah.
So, let those two race it out in front of you. And one thing that I also noticed, and I'm sure they did as well, and this goes to what you said, Whitey, about the Logano and Harvick thing from 2 years ago. There was still some type of air turbulence at Kansas this weekend, because when certain cars did slide job in front, that wake of air got that car behind them way, way out of shape.
Oh, yeah.
It tightened that car behind them right up, and they had to get off of the gas. So, I think by the end of that race, drivers knew that was a move to use. Get that air on that car. Have enough room. You trust your spotter that you're clear, because if you get in front of them and take that out and you disturb that air, man, dirty air was key at Kansas. And I think the drivers by the end kind of used that as a tool and figured that out to help them pass on a track that was hard to pass, but you had to figure out how to do it, which I like. And that's what the drivers like. You gotta figure out a way, and a pass might take 10 laps to happen. It's not going to be immediate. Oh, I'm better than you. No, the cars could still be similar. And now it's up to the driver to manage his tires and the wear. Like you said, the veteran presence of that 45 and Kurt Busch at the end to let them two battle it out, save your stuff, and then make a move when he wanted to. That was, it was just awesome to watch.
No, yeah, and for the slide job 2 part, I noticed that too, where the back car would kind of get out of shape, but also even the front car that was executing the slide job, it would lose a whole bunch of momentum and kind of suck up to the nose of that car, kind of forcing the person behind you to check up, or else they're going to ram right into you.
Chase Elliott had one of the sickest passes yesterday because of that exact instance, Whitey.
Mm-hmm.
Someone went up, slide jobbed the car. Those two cars kind of stalled out.
Yeah.
And then right behind him, Chase had a run. He went to the apron, I'm almost certain of it. And he got two cars in one, I think it was even on the straightaway right before the turn. I'm like, holy shit. Chase had a run and he made it work.
Dude, Bubba had one of those passes too. Bubba did the same thing. Bubba passed 2 or 3 cars in one pass at one point. And I was like, holy shit, look at Bubba go.
Yeah,
Bubba passed a lot of cars, and we'll talk about that.
A ton of cars.
But no, with the momentum, it was insane. And we did see some crazy passes. We saw 4 wide passes for position and everything. Just an absolutely insane weekend. Do you want to jump into the checkers and the wreckers?
Let's go.
All right. Eric, what was your checkers and wreckers for the weekend?
My checkers goes to, he did not win the race. He came in second. Kyle Larson. I just had so much fun watching him race yesterday. I wasn't into the sport through Jimmy Johnson's early dominance of the sport. I didn't get to witness and watch his greatness. So I'm trying to appreciate Kyle Busch and his greatness. I'm trying to appreciate Kyle Larson and his greatness and what I'm witnessing. Similar to how Tom Brady, I watched him my entire life. I witnessed his greatness. So instead of shitting on somebody and being mad that they're winning all the time, I'm kind of being optimistic and looking at them and appreciating what I'm seeing out on that racetrack, and watching Kyle Larson hit that wall more than I think anybody hit that wall yesterday, getting sideways, having amazing saves, and still wheeling that thing in second. I was just very, very impressed. I know everyone is usually every week, but man, Kyle Larson, he was a madman on Sunday at Kansas.
That one save, I forget what part of the race it was, but he got so sideways, and then I feel like the wall corrected him to be able to save it.
Saved him.
Where he smashed the end of the wall with the back of his car, and he kept on going. He saved it
in second. It was unbelievable.
He did in second after that slide.
Yeah, he didn't lose position or anything. I was definitely impressed by his performance yesterday for sure. And I told you guys, I bet on him last week to win the race. Matt, I thought it was funny. You were busting my balls a little bit in that Saturday breakthrough or betting preview show
I
that we
even
do
said
on
it's
YouTube.
not one of his best tracks.
Yeah, and here he was still second. He won last year, so man, Kyle Larson just wheeling that one yesterday. How about your records? What was your records for the weekend?
So my records, I mean, it's tough. I love these weeks where it's hard for me to pick a record because everything just was so awesome and great about the race. I could nitpick about my driver and his bad day, but that stuff's going to happen. But that is what I'm wrecking. The little things that this car still has trouble with and is producing, these instances that are taking out a lot of good drivers and ruining a lot of guys' days. And it's not just the wheel, which is the main concern and the main issue, I think, and one of the only issues with this next-gen car as of right now. We saw a car go through the grass. Great. That is awesome. One thing they figured out.
Not Tyler Reddick this week, by the way. He had his own issues, but it wasn't Tyler Reddick. It reminds me, I got to give a shout-out to one of the listeners, Wesley Gordon, on Twitter, Wesley G, and a bunch of numbers. He sent us a picture from the track, had me absolutely dying laughing. It was a picture of Kansas. He goes, Reddick's looking really fast, but there's a whole lot of grass at this track. And I saw that.
What a burn. I love it. I love it.
It was beautiful.
Hats off. What a burn.
So Wesley, I appreciate the tweet. I hope you had a good time at the race. I hope your driver did better than Tyler Reddick did. But yeah, 10 out of 10 burn right there. I loved it. But sorry to cut you off there with the grass, man.
No, it's just like those little things. Like they need to figure this tire thing out. I understand it's gonna happen, and people want to complain. I'm not really complaining. I'm just like saying like let's figure this out faster rather than like just dragging our feet here, because I do understand F1, Indy, they've had this system for a while. Their crews, they know what to deal with. It's a learning curve that we're going through.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Daniel Suarez's incident, they still didn't figure out how to tow these cars back without damaging them. Like, no, that's bullshit too.
That was
outrageous.
Yeah.
Push his car. All it needed was a push. Why can't you push his car? Like, he even was flipping out.
He's pointing the whole time, like, push me.
Push me. Like, you're going to ruin my car. And what did they do? They damaged his car and they broke some shit on it. So it's like, those little things, like,
and then Chase gets stuck in the grass too after his spin.
Yeah, and then
he's doing the same thing, and then the truck gets stuck.
That was the most. So I listened to Chase's radio. That was the most angry I've ever heard Chase on the radio in my entire life.
Yeah,
he was just mother effing these guys. These guys are morons. What are they doing? Like he was just laying into these guys. But like at the end of the day, like guys, get it together.
Right, that's Matt. Right, that's all I'm saying. Just get it together with these little things. Like, this shouldn't be causing day-ending issues for these teams. And that's what's kind of just irritating. Like, just get it together,
And that's the thing, too. These aren't like the track, wrecker drivers or anything. These guys are traveling with NASCAR every week because they've been trained to utilize this new lifting system with this new car and everything. So like they've been dealing with it every week, just like everybody else. To your point though, this is something interesting I heard on NASCAR radio earlier on last week, because again, they were talking about, wheels falling off. It's a big issue with the lug nut and all that stuff. And a caller called in and said, why doesn't IndyCar have these issues? And why doesn't F1 have these issues? And I forget who pointed it out, but IndyCar has more guys pitting the car. They have one guy on each wheel, just focusing on that one wheel. So, I mean, this would probably be better for the pick lane, but maybe in the future, we kind of, I don't know, rethink the way we pit NASCARs and maybe add 2 guys to the rotation, or even 4 new guys to roll the tires out and just focus on those single wheels. That way, I know it sucks though, because, and this is why it's probably better for a pick lane, because you kind of go back and forth where you lose the choreography and the speed with the pit stops, and we're not IndyCar and all that stuff. Matt, what are you thinking just off the top of your head on this one?
I think it has something. I think it has everything to do with with IndyCar and F1. To my understanding, is that there's not the urgency in a pit stop like there is in NASCAR. Where with NASCAR, it's let's get this wheel off, let's get this wheel on, let's get this car out and going as fast as we possibly can.
Yeah.
Because every fraction of a second, literally every fraction of a second counts.
I think
it's a lot of room for error when you're flying through something like that.
Well, I think IndyCar and F1 and all those series are just as focused in the speed. I mean, we see like 3-second pit stops for those guys too, you know?
Right.
I think it's just the extra people, you know, are adding to the quickness. Where
I just think these guys aren't taking their time. Where if you give up a half a second on pit road, who cares if you know that wheel is secure and you know you're not going to give up that penalty.
And I figured this out because I follow Eric Jones's tire changer, his right rear tire changer, Justin Felder, I think it is, and like he always posts on Twitter in depth. Like what happens on a bad pit stop, what happens on a good pit stop. And he really like explains what's going on. And I remember I was bitching to you guys and on here that like Eric Jones is losing so many spots on pit road. I'm tired of him driving up to the top 10 and then restarting in 20th or 18th and driving back up. But what his tire changer said was they were being cautious on pit road. They were making sure they weren't going. They knew if they were a second, they come out. They were okay with that. They were trying to say, hey, let's get all of our wheels on, be secure. We might lose a couple spots.
Let's not leave anything to chance.
We're gonna make it up out there. We know what our car's gonna do. So they were kind of doing pit stops with a little air of caution on in the back of their minds when going through. They were still going fast. They wanted to do a fast stop, but they still wanted to do a flawless stop rather than a fast stop.
Yeah.
So there's that old saying that sometimes slower is faster, right? On the track when it applies is entering a corner. Slower gets you out of that corner faster on the corner exit because the way you approached it. Well, the same thing in pit road. Sometimes slower is faster. You might have a little bit slower of a pit stop, but everything's secured. It's the safety, it's the confidence that car is going to be able to go, and you're not going to have the penalties. You're not going to have a wheel come off. You're not going to feel a vibration because you know that wheel is on. So slower sometimes is faster.
Oh, that's very true, and that's a good point. We'll just have to keep watching throughout the season and see what happens. All right, Matt, how about you? What was your checkers and wreckers for the weekend?
So both of you guys actually inadvertently brought both my checkers and wreckers up. My checkers goes to on lap 7, Briscoe spun coming out of turn 4 and went through the infield grass there, and he went about 150 miles an hour through that grass, and his car stayed completely intact and he kept on going. A year ago, that car would have been totaled.
Destroyed.
You guys remember? Do you remember? I know it's the Xfinity series, so we're not necessarily comparing apples to apples here. But when Josh Berry went through the infield, and
he made a T-shirt out of it. That's how bad.
I have that T-shirt. He destroyed his car. His car literally blew up when it hit the grass.
Yeah.
Well, the Cup cars did a similar thing as well when that splitter hit the grass. And yesterday, that thing just glided right on through the grass, and it was so nice to see because it didn't ruin the guy's day. So that was nice to see.
It's got to be that underbody panel deal, right? Like that underbelly carriage.
That diffuser. That's where all the aero comes, is in that diffuser that runs the whole bottom of the car.
It just it glides over the grass. It's real nice.
Right through the grass. And it was actually like almost like mesmerizing to watch. One of those like satisfying things, watching it literally cut the grass.
Yeah.
It was literally just cutting the grass in the infield. And then he just
I was absolutely waiting for that car to get destroyed and just the big chunks of grass to go flying and dirt gets sucked up into the grill in the front, and none of that happened. So that was even the broadcaster like, well, I think that car's going to be fine.
Yeah.
I tell you what, who probably really loves it too? The groundskeeping crew at all these tracks. So they're like, great, we don't have to replant sod in that spot, you know?
Yeah. That's funny.
All right, man. How about your records? What was your records for the weekend?
My records is a similar thing, actually. It's kind of funny, but it's kind of not. But it was really funny how much debris ended up on the front of Tyler Reddick's car. The man had half the state of Kansas on the front of his car. Unbelievable. And like, where does all that trash come from? So I don't even know who exactly
it was.
I'm wrecking
No,
here.
it was a sign, like one of the vinyl advertisement signs on the side of the wall. Yeah, because you know how it'll have like the old Monster Energy logos are on the safer barrier and all that stuff. That's just a vinyl sign that they heat up and they put it on just like any other type of vinyl signing.
Right.
And yeah, that happened. I don't know who ripped it off the wall. Someone must have got onto the wall and it just went flying. And you wanna know what? It's embarrassing. It's the second time it's happened in a cup race in the last 2 years to Tyler Reddick. It happened. It happened in Darlington. I brought it up to you guys in our group chat. In 2020, a Blue Emu sign for the I think it was the Blue Emu 400 or something, got stuck on Denny Hamlin's front, right? I don't know if you guys remember this.
Oh, I remember that because we made a big joke about how like that's the best kind of marketing that there can be for Blue Emu.
So and Darlington, so we got a Darlington stripe, ripped half that sign off. It got stuck on Denny's front nose. He wiggled it off, and then it got stuck on Tyler Reddick's nose. And then it happened 2 years later when he's having a pretty freaking great day. And just got him all sorts of loose and put him into the wall. Just insanity, man. It looked like tinfoil.
Yeah, it did. I don't know who I'm wrecking there, but just the whole thing was just, I don't even know if it's wrecking. It's almost like a pseudo checkers for me because I thought it was hilarious how much of his grill was covered.
It's like,
I think this
how's
goes
that even
back.
happen?
I think this goes back to like what I was saying. Like it's somebody's job. They just have to get it together. Like what?
I feel like it's one of those things. Like those signs are at every track, everywhere. Yeah. It's just such a rare thing to happen. Like
it usually happens at like at road courses where they have some of the
like
signs,
the big billboards,
where they actually have like signs standing up on the side of the track itself.
And then someone will
takes one out and it gets stuck somewhere.
I'm pretty sure that happened to Tyler Reddick at the Daytona Road Course in 2021. I'm not exactly sure. I know somebody hit one of those signs in that Daytona Road Course race.
Get it together. Tyler Reddick needs to get it together.
I may be misremembering. Maybe I forget who it was, but somebody definitely got one of those signs stuck on the front of their car at the Daytona Road Course last year. It was like the second race of the season.
We're gonna debut a new segment next week, and it's gonna be called "Get It Together."
Get it together. Well, it's basically
after the race weekend. Who needs to get it together?
Fox, I'm looking at you. You guys have been missing way too much action. I don't know if it was cuts during the pandemic where you weren't sending a full video crew or what. We're seeing 3 shots every week. It's the same 3 shots. One of those shots is a camera on the side of the wall, or it's the cameras connected to the cars.
No aerial views.
No aerial views on restarts. You can't see the whole entire field. Fox, you need to get it together.
I love it. Oh,
all right.
Sometimes the behind the scenes producing comes out on air.
Hey, when the
creative juices are flowing.
You gotta let them flow. I love it. And if you guys have a get it together that you want to give or checkers and wreckers, let us know on Twitter at bump the letter and run pod, or let us know in the comments of the YouTube section. We love going back and forth with everybody on YouTube. My checkers, I kind of alluded to it earlier and I forgot it was my checkers when I did. Toyota, all 6 drivers got a top 10, including the win. You can't ask for a better day for a manufacturer, especially when they struggled early on in the season. So big congratulations to Toyota there. And my wreckers has to go to NASCAR timing and scoring. So during the race, we kind of talked about the Eric Jones situation where he had the lug nuts stuck on the right rear there. And we got a lot of TV coverage of them trying to, get that lug nut off. And Matt, what did you say when I brought this up originally? You thought that they were just waiting for pit road to be safe, right?
Yeah, so I had no going back to Fox needing to get it together. Is I had no idea that they were sorting out the field because I guess NASCAR is one of those situations where when the caution came out, there were people pitting, there were people whatever. So like they were trying to figure out the running order. But Fox never talked about that. Fox never mentioned that. I mean, maybe
No.
they did, but I didn't hear it. You guys didn't hear it. So
No, I'll tell you, the only reason why I knew to give this my records was because I was listening to the scanners. And Tyler Reddick goes to his spotter. He's like, what's the holdup on pit road? And, of course, they were working on the Eric Jones car. They came in while the yellow was still going and pit road was still closed. They were taking the penalty regardless to get some extra time to work on that car. It wasn't a safety issue. It was NASCAR timing and scoring was trying to figure out the running order because some guys were on their green flag pit stops when the caution came out. Really messed up a lot of people's days. And there's just a whole lot of confusion. I feel like it took like several minutes for pit road to open.
It was longer than normal because I even noticed it too. I turned to my girlfriend and I go, oh my God, this is awesome. Like this caution's long. Like they're getting to work a little bit extra on Eric's car. Like how are they still under caution? And so like, I even noticed that too. So it was weird that they didn't, like Matt, like you said, where they almost kind of like covered their own ass by not bringing it up.
Yeah,
it was like a cover up where like they met like I'm gonna put the tinfoil hat on, the tinfoil hat theory.
Yeah,
of like NASCAR went to the Fox booth and they said, "Listen, we screwed up again. This is the second time in 2 or 3 weeks that we have confusion with the running order. Don't mention anything. Let's just focus on this wheel that's stuck on the car down there. Let's just talk about that while we get this all sorted out." I'm not saying that actually happened, but
no.
It didn't even hit me either because I was like, God, like we're just so hyper focused on this Eric Jones car. Like they're not running cars down pit road. Like, is this a safety thing? Because those guys are out there working, but like, no, why would it be? What's the difference between what they're doing and what
versus any other time
during a normal pit stop? So I was like, what the hell what's even going on right now? It was a bizarre little moment for 5 or 10 minutes there.
Now, again, this is just what I heard on the scanner, again, because they didn't bring it up on the broadcast or anything. So maybe NASCAR was holding it for a safety reason. In my head, then you'd have to throw a red flag or something, right. And maybe tow the car to the garage or something like that. So I'm just going by what I heard on the scanner. But yeah, that gets my records because, like you said, this isn't the first time it's happened. It happened in Bristol during the dirt race with the rain, and nobody knew what the hell was going on with the way the pit stops worked, where they weren't live pit stops and everything, where it was kind of a red flag, but it's really not a red flag. But the running order changes when the yellow drops again and the pace laps. It's like one of those confusing things where it's like, NASCAR, just get your shit together. Come on. It's 2022. And it might have been a facility thing too, because I know during practice and qualifying, they were having issues with the scoring pylon where nobody knew the times during qualifying. I don't know if you guys got to watch or listen. I was listening to the MRN broadcast and they brought that up because I was watching it. I was out to eat and I was, trying to check the scanner app to see. Usually it'll give you the times and everything, and none of that was being updated, and it was because there was a scoring issue. So maybe that played into it. I don't know. I'll try to cut them as much of a break as possible, but at the same time, like that's precious seconds, and those are laps being ticked off during caution. Those could have been green flag laps, and also vinyl signs is my honorable mention on that one. But that's all I have for my checkers and wreckers. Do you guys want to go over some race notes? We touched on a lot of these, but we'll just go over the top 10 and some guys that had some bad luck. Is that yeah?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, a lot of guys with bad luck.
Yeah.
What's that?
A lot of guys with just bad luck that had their day ruined, and there's a lot of promise in some of these drivers.
Yeah. Do you want to go over the bad luck first? I feel like that's more interesting. We just talked about him. Tyler Reddick led 24 laps in stage 1 until a piece of vinyl siding hit his grill, ended up affecting the handling of his car, put him into the wall. He finished 30th place. Eric Jones, we talked about, looked great until a lug nut got stuck on his car for much of the race. He finished 32nd, multiple laps down. It really sucks too because he was running really good for what, the fourth week in a row.
Yeah, that first stage he came in P7, I think, or P8 in stage 1, and he had a good. He was actually over to the radio. He's like, "Oh, I'm really liking the balance of my car," and like, they were working on it, and I think if they worked on it, he would have had another top 10 at least.
Yeah, just
at one point, all three of us our picks. I had Kyle Busch, Whitey had Kyle Larson, Eric had Alex Bowman. At one point, all three of our picks were in the top 10, and I was like, "Look at us! Like, look at the credibility we're gaining right now." And then it all went to shit.
Mayhem.
I mean, well, no, it didn't. All of our picks still ended up in the top 10. So,
well, just the race in general, just
what am I talking about?
Huh?
What am I talking about? I don't know. You're right. They did all end up in the top 10.
But no, for a while, especially after that caution with the green flag runs and stuff, a lot of people got put down like a lap down and everything. It got real weird there for where like Austin Cindric was running in the top 5 and he did not have a top 5 car. Things got really jumbled up until the next caution came out. People were able to take the wave around and kind of get back on the lead lap and things sorted themselves out. And things that sorted themselves out for Bubba Wallace. He got himself a top 10 finish despite losing 61 spots on pit road. Now, for weeks, I've been seeing people talk about it online. Just Bubba's pit crew really dropping the ball. And I don't even know where to begin. 61 spots lost on pit road, and he was still able to get a top 10. What do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about 2311 in general and pit road?
Bubba said something along the lines. I don't know if it was just somebody making this up in a tweet, so I can't confirm or deny that this is what happened, but I did see somewhere someone say Bubba said something like, we'd have a car to win this race if you guys didn't keep effing it up, or something.
No, he did.
He did say that?
He did, and he did have a really good handling car. I feel like he could have at least gotten a top 5 for
I think
sure.
so too. I mean, he was every time me and my dad were going back and forth through text message, and he said, hey, look at Bubba, he's running well. And then like at 25 minutes later, it's like, holy shit, I think Bubba's he was up to like 6th or something.
Yeah.
And he was having a great run. And Denny did say after the race, like, we're going to get that sorted out. Like, we're going to get that straightened out for him. Like, that can't keep happening. Like, pit road can't keep like hindering his day. And
it's been an issue for Kurt too in the last couple of weeks also, where he's having issues on pit road. It's just, man, I don't know. Maybe they got the B squad from Joe Gibbs. They just sent down all the rejects from the top 4 teams and gave them whatever was left.
Well, I will say this. I saw that Bubba Wallace tweet where they said he lost 61, spots, and it got me thinking about how I mentioned Eric Jones always losing spots on pit road. And man, I was like, bitching, and I was just bitching because I found out later on they were taking their time and losing spots on pit road, not screwing up on pit road. You know what I mean? To me, it's like now there's a little bit of a difference. Like I would be frustrated too if their pit crew was screwing up, not just taking their time. So man, Bubba did have a good car, and I think Whitey, you're gonna like this too. It seems like drivers that like Denny Hamlin, besides his one win out of nowhere, terrible luck, bad weekends, but fast cars.
Yep.
And it seems like Kurt Busch start off the season fast, shitty luck, boom, win comes out of nowhere.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It seems like that is happening to a lot of drivers where they're getting close, bad stuff happens, and all of a sudden, boom, they get a win. It's like, oh, okay. So you know what, Whitey? I have my fingers crossed. Our drivers have speed in their car.
They do.
Your driver, especially in Reddick, has been close way too many times this year to not get a win. But I think maybe that's what's going to happen. You have some real bad weeks, and then out of nowhere, it clicks, you get a win. So
I the problem is I keep bringing him up too, because I don't want to come off as biased or whatever. But I was listening to an interview with Tyler Reddick today, and he said it himself. He goes, you want to know what? I think if I was just giving it 90%, we would have finished the race in the top 5. Where it's like races where I don't really try too hard, we have solid days. and it's the days that I'm giving it my all and trying as hard as possible. That's when they have the 30th place finish. Something happens, and if you look at the history, like, Auto Club, he was leading, has a tire go down. Maybe he was overdriving a little bit, something. I don't know. They're messing around with air pressures and stuff, and we'll get into the air pressure debate later on. But I wonder if it is where it's like, where these guys like Denny, they're trying to put in such a big effort, and then the weeks where they're not trying too hard, they have a solid day. Like look at Denny's pit crew in Dover. They're rushing to get everything done, and he's having a solid day all day long, and they want to keep him out and get him out front. And then bam, they lose a tire or whatever. Maybe there is something to say, especially on pit road, where it's like, hey, maybe pump the brakes a little bit and focus on execution rather than speed. And Matt, you kind of brought that up earlier on too, during the checkers and wreckers. So
there are three things that I wanted to really quick talk about, just to kind of piggyback off of pit road and how important it is for anyone who might be listening, who just thinks, hey, it's just about what happens on the track. Like that's so far from
absolutely
the truth.
not.
So pit road is so important. And there's three instances that I can think of just from yesterday alone. Is one, Chase Elliott, before the debacle with his tire going down, they made the first pit stop. He was rolling around the track, 17th or 18th. Came in, made the pit stop, came out 11th.
Yeah.
Next one came in like 11th or 10th or something like that. Came out like 6th, and then the next one he came out first. So his pit crew literally got him from 19th, 20th to first.
Yeah.
Like he was also passing cars. He was also good on the track, but his pit crew got him all the way up to the front of that pack before his tire, deflated and busted. The second instance was, we didn't talk about Kyle Busch, the first ever four tire pit stop. It was their team broke, the 18 team broke a record yesterday, a 4-tire pit stop. I think it was sub 9 seconds.
Really?
Yeah. Yep, they talked about that on one of the Sirius shows today. And then
you think they would bring it up on the broadcast, but they never talk about pit times anymore.
They don't talk about anything on the broadcast anymore.
Well, yeah.
And then the third thing is, we didn't talk about pit road too, is how about that one pit stop? And it's actually comical. That one pit stop where there was like 5 or 6 penalties that happened.
So I'm glad you brought it up, because that was originally my wreckers, and I forgot about it until you brought it up. Because I was going back and forth with what my wreckers was going to be. And I thought about doing pit road penalties, because how many guys got busted on that one pit stop where
Nick Joy just kept going? This guy got a penalty.
It was all different stuff. It was like uncontrolled tire, equipment leaving the pit box, too many men over the wall, speeding tickets. Like there was like 7 or 8 guys that got popped in one of those first pit stops. And then it happened again later on in the race too, with less guys, but it was still like 3 people got busted at the same time. And yeah, like you said, though, Chase Elliott made up how many spots on pit road and got him to the front when he needed to, especially when track position is king and clean air and all that. So I don't know. It's just one of those things. Speaking of Chase Elliott, he led 10 laps Sunday, had a tire go down in stage 3, ended up finishing 29th after getting stuck in the grass there. Daniel Suarez, pretty much the same thing, having a nice run. And a tire got him. He cut a tire, got thrown right into the wall there. Tow truck driver did some damage, and he finished 11 laps down in 33rd. And William Byron led 25 laps. He didn't have the finish he was looking for too. He finished in 16th. And then we have the top 10, where these guys had great days. Kurt Busch, of course, had a great day. Kyle Larson led 29 laps, battled a lot at the end, just overdrove a corner and gave up the lead. But man, what an exciting finish it made for. Kyle Busch led 18 laps. His car was solid all day long. Denny Hamlin, he got himself a top 5. Christopher Bell won the pole, led 37 laps, had a really good car all day long, just struggled on some of the restarts. What are you guys thinking about Christopher Bell? Because I brought it up in our group chat earlier. I feel like people are sleeping on Christopher Bell, and he's knocking on a win himself anytime now.
Christopher Bell is going to win a race within the next 3 races.
I think so too.
Christopher Bell is one of those guys that like could easily steal the Coke 600. Not steal it, but win outright the Coke 600.
No, I agree. How about you, Eric? What do you think about Christopher Bell right now?
Yeah, I mean, he's like under the radar, which is weird for for him. But I just think Toyota in general, they're fast every week. We talk about the issues that they're having on pit road with 2311 and, Denny Hamlin with Gibbs, but they're fast. They're having issues, but the Toyotas are fast. If they could get it together like they did this past weekend, where they all finished inside the top 10, look out, because if they get all their issues figured out, they have speed. And at certain racetracks, you heard some of the Chevy drivers saying, man, they had better speed than we did.
Yeah.
So if they could just get rid of their little hiccups, I think Christopher Bell for sure has a win this season in him.
Yeah, even just looking at his numbers right now, because I really want to drive home the point how good he's having a season and how quiet people have been on him. So it started out rough. The first 5 races, he finished 34th, 36th, 10th at Las Vegas, 26th, and 23rd. Since then, at Cody, finished 3rd, Richmond 6th, Martinsville 20th, not the best finish, 7th at Bristol Dirt, 22nd at Talladega Crapshoot, Dover 4th, Darlington 6th, Kansas 5th. He's floating right around 5th place the last couple races, and even before that, besides the anomaly that Martinsville was and Talladega always is. So I think Matt's right. I think he's knocking on a win in the next few races, possibly the Coke 600. I don't know. The Coke 600 is one of those weird animals, and I'm wondering if you guys think that the new car could fix the Coke 600, because they haven't been very entertaining the last few years.
I hope so, man. I mean, a couple of years ago, we saw Martin Truex Jr. literally lead every lap. Last year, Eric had a party, had us over, and we had it on, and we would watch it, but there was really not much to watch. So
like
it was
nothing was going on.
Noise. So I'm hoping, man, because it's one of our crown jewels. So I have a feeling that's the final test for me. If the Coke 600 is like a B or higher as far as the grade goes,
yeah,
this is the best car we've ever had.
Yeah, I'll give you that. How about you, Eric?
The Coke 600, I think it could produce a weird winner. I think sometimes it does produce a weird winner like Dega or Talladega or road course can do, because of the endurance factor and how long
fuel
it is,
mileage.
Yeah, so like
you get an Austin Dillon fuel mileage win.
Right. So I'm kind of curious to see if these new cars could last and what they're going to do and hold up, the toe link, the tires, all that stuff. So we'll see what kind of endurance, if heat's going to be an issue in these cars. There's a lot to look forward to with this Coke 600 and what this car could do and what it could produce.
I'll tell you what, if there's every 20, 25, 30 laps, there's a tire going down with the Coke 600, we're going to be watching that race until 4 a.m.
You want to win? You want to win? If it's entertaining, though, I wouldn't mind.
Right.
Because
then you lose track of how long it is if it's a good race.
Yeah. I tell you what, who's really good at winning crown jewel races and really good at protecting his equipment on a long run. Eric Jones. You never know. It could happen. I know we're all pulling for him for you, Eric, but I honestly think it could happen, especially with this new car. Martin Truex Jr., though, he led a whole bunch of laps a few years ago with the Coke 600. He didn't lead any laps on Sunday, but he had a solid top 5 car. I felt like if Martin Truex Jr. ever got to the front row on a restart, he could have been like lights out fast. How about you guys? You noticed that
Clean
at
air.
all?
Yeah, clean air was big.
Man. He's going to win a race this summer for sure.
Yeah, it has to. He's too good not to have a win. This time last year, he had 3 wins, but then he kind of fell off in the end of the season. So maybe he'll catch fire near the end of this regular season too. Ross Chastain led 4 laps, not the day we're used to Ross having, but still got a 7th place finish. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Got to give it to him.
I can't believe that.
3rd top 10 in 3 weeks. If you're not betting Ricky at a top 10 for those odds, I didn't, but I wish I did. So I don't know. Alex Bowman had himself a solid day, 9th place. And we talked about Bubba again, that 10th place finish. William Byron led 25 laps, finished 16th. I'm not really sure what happened to William Byron. Do you guys remember? Did anything stand out to you guys, or was it just like a pit cycle type deal?
No, he broke something.
Did he break something? Okay.
Yeah.
That makes
and like
sense.
something with the diffuser under his car too, and like he went up into the wall. He had some failures and some issues that like ruined a really good car that he had.
Okay, there was just so much going on with yesterday's race. I kind of forgot about certain things until I was reminded earlier in the morning listening to Sirius XM NASCAR Radio Channel 90. And William Byron, I just couldn't remember what had happened to him. But that's all I have for the race notes. You guys have anything else to add for the race weekend?
I think we covered it.
Yeah, we covered a whole lot. It was a great race to cover, though. I really enjoyed that
So
one.
much fun. I love doing the podcast when we have such a great race like we had.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to recording tonight, man. I was like, oh, man, we got so much stuff to talk about. One last thing for the race weekend we have to talk about, though. Everyone talks about the first place driver, Kurt Busch, on a Monday. We like to talk about the last place driver, and this week it was one BJ McLeod. His day ended early after an incident on lap 34 that left his roof hatch open, something I legit forgot about until this morning when I was trying to figure out who came in last. Something I've never seen before. That roof latch is for, a quick exit, usually at a super speedway. I forgot they even ran them at every race now. Have you guys seen anything like that happen before? Like,
I think it has happened before. I don't think that's a first, but it is definitely a rarity. That's something that should not and does not happen often.
I wonder if NASCAR is going to take that car to the R&D center and see what was going on with that one too. Because like you can't have that happen, especially if you get turned around and that roof flap.
A whole roof flap comes out. No good. That is bad news.
Yeah, that's an emergency exit only. That's the middle row on an airplane by the wing. You gotta make sure you're qualified to open that bad boy. You know what I'm saying? But I wish I could say that was the craziest thing that happened on Sunday, but it wasn't. And it's insane that I forgot about that until today. So, but that was the last place driver, BJ McLeod. I think that's the second or third time he's been on the last place list this season. But do you guys want to jump into the pick of lanes?
Wait, real quick. That was the third or fourth time BJ McLeod's been the last place driver?
I want to say it was only the second, maybe the third.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, BJ McLeod, get it together.
Get it together. No, I agree. Yeah, also, I mean, never mind. I'm not even going to bother. Anyways, back to the pick of lanes. I throw out a topic. The choose cones out. You guys get to pick your end of the argument. A trend on Twitter this weekend was how outdated Kansas facility was, especially in the infield. What is one thing that you think tracks can do to draw more people in to the at-track experience and off-track entertainment in general? Matt, do you want to go first?
Yeah, it's something I've been saying for a long, long time, and I don't know the logistics behind any of this, of whether it's realistic or not.
Yeah.
But I think for larger infields that can support it, like a Talladega, a Daytona, a Michigan, a Pocono.
Yeah.
Bill, let's get a restaurant bar, a sports bar built on the infield property of one of these bigger tracks where you have the outside seating, you have the inside with the AC going, especially for these summer races that are hot as hell outside.
Mm-hmm.
Get a little reprieve for some of these guys. I'm telling you, a lot of people all three of us have been in multiple infields. We love infield camping. How nice would it be on a Friday or Saturday night to be like, yo, let's go over to the bar. Let's get some food.
Let's reserve a table and hang out. Yeah.
Right. Or even like during the race where sometimes at a bigger track, it's kind of hard to watch what's going on and whatnot. Head over there. You watch the race. You get some AC. You get to hang out. You get to sit at the bar. There's some good food. And if they do it the right way, where the food's legit good, a lot of these infields, these bigger infields, stay open. I know Pocono does it at least, where they're open all summer long for camping for people who just want to pay a small fee and go in and camp.
Yeah.
Where they could just keep that infield open where it just
all summer
becomes
long.
another local restaurant. It just happens to be in the infield of Pocono. You know what I mean? So I think in a weekend where there's whatever thousands and thousands of people that are in an infield that size, they can make their money to last for the year anyway. So something like that would be really, really cool to see.
Yeah, that's similar to like how in Philly, the Flyers down there, they have, it's called like the Xfinity Zone, where it's exactly that, Matt. Right outside of the arena, they have a bar, restaurant with it's open, and they have like a patio where they have cornhole boards. They have tables set up outside. They have games and stuff where you could go and escape the heat, like you said, is huge. And it's something that'll benefit the area all year round, like you said, if you're able to keep it up and then you run it all year round. I think that would be an absolutely incredible idea. But on a smaller scale, I think, how about a little, and this is just me, like I just know because of our area, how about you bring a little bit of local flavor to the racetrack? Like at Pocono, I know we're using that. That's where we're from. Make what is events in your area that you would go to, or people would go to? Around here, it's church picnics and bazaars and little like circus, like carnival things. Bring that to Pocono. Have a pierogi stand. Have kielbasa.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
The local food fair.
The flavor of the area.
No, that's true.
Bring a little bit of that. Like, who doesn't like going to a bazaar or a church picnic? You just have that up there. It's gonna bring people there.
Bring a local steaks. Bring up a Pat's or a Geno's for the weekend.
Right? Like bring like the like I know we love Pocono in the infield because there's a local band that we all love that plays M80. You bring a band in that local area that everyone in the locals know, you're going to bring people there just to do that. And if you make it more for the people in that area, that they're going to go to that race. So I think maybe a little bit of local flavor in some of the stuff, and maybe some of the vendors that they bring there. But besides entertainment and amenity that you cannot have too many of, are porta-johns. And I noticed this year, even at Daytona, and you could back me up on this, Whitey, like I thought there was a lot more porta-johns this year at the racetracks that I've been to than in the past. And I think people have noticed that. Some did, some didn't. But we could always
still use more,
But where they could do better is in the parking lots.
Yeah.
They just think, at the facility, at the racetrack, have porta-johns outside the immediate area where the fan zone and all of that food and stuff is going on. That's great. You need it there. But you also need it in the parking lots where you walk so far away from the grandstands and you're nowhere near the racetrack anymore at some of these parking lots, at some of these raceways. Have more porta-johns in the parking lots.
And in
you know
the
what
infield.
I mean? It would help out tremendously, especially when you bring your family or you have a girlfriend. I know it's not the right thing to do, but us men, we could get away with going in between certain things and getting away with it. But I just think more porta-johns in the actual parking lots away from the racetrack.
Especially when a lot of these tracks are really hard to get out of. Like, for example, just a personal experience, Dover a couple weeks ago, it rained out on Sunday. Everybody was leaving at the same time. We were sitting in that parking lot, and what do people do at races? They drink, they enjoy themselves. We're sitting in the car trying to figure out what hotel we're going to stay at because we have to stay overnight for the race the next day. Well, I had to go to the bathroom. So I told, the guy who was driving me, fan and friend of the show, Justin, hey, dude, I'll be back when I'm back. I guess I got to go walk around and find a bathroom. And, it took me 20 minutes to find one. It wasn't easy. I had to actually go back almost into the racetrack to find one. So yeah, definitely. I could definitely support the idea of more porta-johns in the parking lot.
Yeah, Eric, you had a great one with the porta-johns. I was actually going to bring up just more bathroom facilities and larger bathroom facilities in general, especially in the infield, especially at Pocono. I feel like Pocono's bathroom facility is real small, but we always rent a porta-john anyways. And real simple Wi-Fi, cell service. Like, dude, that is
power
key.
in the middle of
Right in the
infield.
center, right in the center. Like, you need it because you want to what? We're trying to attract a younger demographic. We're trying to attract young fans. What do young people, not even young people, what do people our age? We're in our 30s now. Like, we're older millennials. What does everybody do? When you're doing something cool, you take a picture and you put it on social media. You know, you put your on your Snapchat story, like all those different things, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all that stuff. When you can't do that at the track, it kind of, I'm not going to say it deters you from going. It doesn't deter me, you know, but I'm sure if it's like, you know, a casual that goes with their friends, like, yeah, it kind of sucked though. I couldn't check my phone or anything. I don't know if I'm going to go back. You know, I'm sure that happens when you're just a casual fan.
Oh, dude. So if you're a new listener of the show, I have a nickname, Daytona Ron. I got that from going to Daytona, and mainly because back then I don't know, 22, 23, whatever it was, and I'm on Snapchat, and I would snap my entire weekend and how much fun I had and going to the racetrack. And then like the next year I went back, the internet got even worse, and then it was almost pointless for me to even try to, you know, take videos or pictures. And it sounds kind of, you know, I don't know, shitty to complain about not being able to post to social media, but that is how I let people know and let them see the fun I'm having so that they get jealous and want to come.
Well, they're like, oh,
I
check that out.
So like, there was a while there where like Daytona Ron was built through social media, and I got that because everyone knew, oh, he's going to Daytona. I can't wait to see all the action and see what he's up to. And then I just kind of stopped because it was just pointless to do that at the racetrack because we almost couldn't buy tickets that 1 year. Remember that?
We were walking in trying to buy tickets on our phones, and the cell service was terrible. And honestly, if it wasn't for you posting every year going down, I wouldn't have become a NASCAR fan because I got into NASCAR because it was cold in February and I just wanted to go to the warm beach, you know, and a race just happened to be down there, you know, and here we are doing a podcast. That's how quickly things can change and how easily you could get somebody into it. And again, it's because I saw you having a good time in Florida every year where I'm like, oh yeah, this year I'm going down with Eric and those guys. Let's fucking party, you know? You can't discredit the importance of social media and the reach that just grassroots people telling people like, hey, I went to this race. It was pretty awesome. You should check it out next year, you know? So I totally agree with that. All right. The choose cones back out. Next pick a lane. This is something I thought was interesting. I saw it on Twitter. Denny had a good day on Sunday. The first one in a while. Again, up and down all season long. But during the race, Chris Gabart, his crew chief, said to pay attention to his race, not what 2311 is doing. Is this kind of the confirmation we need to know that maybe ownership is affecting Denny's performance?
100%. I think we touched on it. You know, I think we all speculated it. But like you said, this is the first confirmation of it. And you know, when your crew chief is telling you to pay attention to your race, there's obviously shit weighing on Denny's mind, and his focus is definitely not on what's in front of him. Yeah. His focus is on what his other driver is doing, you know, on the racetrack while he's there. And to me, I've always assumed it. You know, we never had any hard evidence, but this just to me seems like it is clear now that it is affecting him, and maybe why Brad is not doing as well this year to the same extent.
That's what I'm thinking too with the whole Brad Keselowski Roush Fenway deal. How about you, Matt? What do you think?
Yeah, how could you disagree with that? I mean, and listen, it's not, you know, I'm not ragging on Denny here. You know, I couldn't imagine how difficult it is to concentrate on your own race when you're also running a business and you have two other cars out there that you're responsible for.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine how difficult it is to try to put that in your afterthought and let other people take care of that while you're racing. So yeah, it can't be easy. And who can fault him for having that on the back of his mind, or maybe even on the front of his mind. So that's yet another reason why I think eventually Denny will just run for 27.
That's, you want to know what? I think honestly, I think it's probably better just to hang it up early. I know he wants that championship real bad, but kind of hang it up early and focus on team ownership.
I predict that he will eventually maybe run the last, 2, 3, 4 years of his driving career for himself for 23XI.
Yeah.
I really, really do, especially now that he's seeing, hey, listen, I had a car that won last year. I have a car that won this year outright that just dominated and actually won the race. So we're building cars that can actually succeed. I'm running for JGR who produces those cars, and I'm not doing well this year. So what do I have to lose?
Yeah.
I can see it happening.
I could definitely see that. That's a good point.
I don't know. I guess only time will tell. It should be interesting to see what happens in the future. One thing, another issue, we saw it a lot, tires. Goodyear has recommended air pressures, and they said if you go lower than that, it creates weakness in the sidewall that you might not see right off the bat. It might take 20, 30, 40 laps to see. Are teams flying too close to the sun with this new car? And do you think the risk is worth it in the end with the tire failures we saw this past weekend?
I'll take this one because it's fresh on my mind. Being a Chase Elliott fan, is they asked, I forget who asked Alan Gustafson, hey, listen, we saw X amount of cars, spin out in practice. The tires kind of failed. Do you guys plan on going back to the drawing board and changing up what you're going to do? And he was like, nope. I like what we're going to do. And then here we are, whatever it was, midway through that race or 3/4 through that race, they blow a tire because they didn't go back to the drawing board. So yeah, I mean, they're flying too close to the sun. They thought they had a setup that was going to work for them as far as the tire pressure goes. And it worked for a while, but it clearly had an effect on them where it ended their day. So, or it may as well have ended their day. So yeah, they're flying way too close to the sun, like these teams have always done in some form or another.
Yeah. How about you, Eric? What do you think?
Part of me wants to say, shoot for the stars, you know what I mean? And try to do whatever you can, because I'm a big fan of pushing that gray area as far as you can, as a car chief, as a crew chief, with your setups to try to get the best advantage on the field. But with how common this has been, and just with this tire being new and kind of everyone's notebook blank on it, I don't want to be the guinea pig and be the one to have to figure out what is that threshold and am I going too close. So I would have to agree that, hey, let other teams do it. Let other teams push the limit, but I don't want my team to push the limit right now.
Yeah.
Because you need someone who's got to figure it out, and someone will figure it out what that threshold is. But I just don't want it to be my driver right now because, man, with how parity of the sport, with how tight that this points in the racing and these winners are, I just think any DNF, any bad finish is crucial and just destroys your motor, your season to an extent where you could be 1 point out of the playoffs and realize, man, if I just put 6 more pounds, in my tire
pressure, yeah,
week 10, I would be in the playoffs right now. So that's the way I think, and my brain thinks like long term. So I would err on the side of caution, and I would put in what they want, especially since it's all new to these teams.
No, I agree. Especially this past weekend, we're getting to the point in the season where every finish counts towards those playoffs, especially if you're trying to point yourself in, and you can't have any mistakes like that. But to Matt's point too, it's hard to. That's what racing is pushing the envelope as far as possible and trying to get away with it as much as you can. It just seems like the writing's on the wall. Like, really, you don't want to mess with these tires at all. Goodyear's telling you, like, hey, run these pressures or you're going to have a bad time. And time again, drivers are having a real bad time, So it's just an interesting thing to see what they'll do. And it was interesting to see all the crew chiefs change their minds midway through these races yesterday and change those tire pressures. But that's all I have for the pick a lane. Let's move forward to the weekend ahead. We're heading down to Texas. It's the All-Star weekend for Cup, but Trucks and Xfinity on track for regular action. Friday night, 8:30 on FS1. The Trucks have the SpeedyCash.com 220, and then Saturday, Xfinity has the SRS Distribution 250. 1:30 on FS1. And then Saturday night, 7 p.m. on FS1, we have Cup qualifying for the All-Star race. They'll also re-air that 3 p.m. on Sunday. And then 5:30, we have the All-Star Open on FS1. That's when all the drivers who didn't already qualify for the All-Star race try to race their way in. 3 guys will race their way in, and then a 4th one will get that fan vote. Fan voting available right now on NASCAR.com. Vote for Eric Jones, Tyler Reddick, and Chase Elliott's already in, so you don't have to worry about him. And then 8 p.m., we have the main event All-Star race on FS1. And Eric, you're going to break down the way it's formatted because it's changed since last year. Is that correct?
That is correct. Like you said, there is going to be qualifying on Saturday, and that is what I'm very interested in seeing, where I think some of the action is going to come from. So round 1 of qualifying is single car, 1 lap in reverse order of the owner's points. So last in the owners will go out first, and makes it fair. The best driver gets to go last to try to make it.
Yeah.
The top 8 on times from that round 1 of qualifying, they go to round 2, which round 2 is a 8-team bracket.
Okay.
2 cars are paired up with one another.
Yeah.
On pit road. An alert, an alarm, something is going to sound. The crews, they will do a 4-tire pit stop, and just like a normal pit stop, when the jack man drops, the cars take off. No speed limit on pit road.
Yeah.
They both will race.
Drag race down pit road.
To start-finish line. First one of the start-finish line wins that head-to-head matchup.
Okay.
Then the winner moves on in the bracket. So they'll go through the bracket.
Okay, so it's a tournament-style bracket to first place. That's what was confusing me when I was trying to read it. I was like reading Spanish when you take French. Like I couldn't figure it out.
So now when you get to the final 2 in that bracket, the winner of that final matchup, that gets the pole for the All-Star race.
Okay.
And that's Saturday night? What time is that?
Saturday. 7.
Saturday night at 7. It'll also re-air at 3 p.m.
The race.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for Saturday night. Want to see that. And if you miss it Saturday night at 7, of course, it's 3 p.m. on FS1 before the All-Star Open. So yeah, that's really interesting. Then All-Star Open, I assuming, is just regular heat races, right?
The single car qualifying in reverse order again. And then there's 3 stages, 20, 20, and 10. And the winner of each one of those stages advances, and they make their way into the All-Star race.
All right.
The main event of the race is 4 stages, 25, 25, 25, and 50.
Okay.
Now, this is where it gets a little confusing. Winner of stage 1 gets the pole for the final stage, as long as that person in stages 2 and 3 are in the top 15.
Okay.
Now so that whoever wins stage 1, they're done. They're out. Now stage 2, winner of stage 2 gets the outside for the final, as long as they finish in the top 15 in stage 3.
Okay,
now,
that's interesting.
The winner of stage 3 will start in 3rd place. Now, after the stage 2, there's a stage break where all teams must pit and perform a 4-tire stop, and the driver and team with the shortest, the crew gets the pit award.
Yeah. And
that driver will start 4th in the main event.
Okay. All right.
And then obviously you have the last lap, it's 50. And if there's not, this is a gimmick I think they made so that like there's 50 laps in case it gets stretched out. If there is no caution in between laps 15 to 25, they will throw an all-star caution
for a mandatory pit stop.
With 25 to go.
Okay.
Is Sammy Hagar going to be drunkenly driving them to the green flag?
Because
that was awesome.
I hope so.
Bitch, he better.
I hope so. We'll see it all happen 8 p.m. on FS1 for the main event. We won't be picking for gambling because I don't think they do gambling for the All-Stars, But to recap, Dovin came in last week. He picked Bowman, 29 points. I picked Larson. He got me 40 points. And Matt picked Kyle Busch. He got me 53 points. We got like 2 minutes left in the show. Eric, who's your pick for the All-Star pick? Whoever gets the highest pick will do 10 bonus points for funsies, and that's it.
Oh, I already got it in the books. It's the 12, Ryan Blaney.
Going Ryan Blaney. All right. I came in second for the All-Star race. I'm saying I'm going Ross Chastain. I think he pulls it off. I think he's going to be real aggressive for that $1 million. How about you, Matt?
It's the All-Star race. I'm going to be a homer for it. I already know my guy's in, so I can be. I'm going with Chase Elliott.
I think they're all solid picks, and we will see this Saturday and Sunday. Very excited. We are 13 races in. We have 11 different winners locked into the playoffs so far. Austin Cindric, Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman, Chase Briscoe, William Byron, Ross Chastain, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, and Kurt Busch, the latest first win driver of the season to lock them all in. It's getting wild, boys. But we get to have a nice, fun weekend this weekend with the All-Star race. Check it all out on Sunday, FS1. All the festivities start at 3 p.m. if you missed that Saturday night qualifying. For Matt the Statman Reilly, for Eric Daytona Ron, I'm Michael D. White saying have a good night.
The bump and run.
There it is.